Money stops at the borders, and many times people, they struggle to transact over the borders. We are creating a bank where you can move your money freely, the same way as you move as a person. If you travel to another country, your money should be able to follow you without any issues.
Welcome back to the Issuer Academy. Today we are in South Africa, shining a spotlight on one of the region's most exciting fintech stories, Chikwama Pay. Chikwama Pay has emerged as a dynamic force in digital payments, offering mobile-first, WhatsApp-based Borderless, a neobank designed for everyday people and businesses that need fast, affordable, and secure ways to transact. With me is Smangele Khumalo, the COO of Chikwama Pay. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You have been at the forefront of scaling the company's operations and driving its vision of financial inclusion through innovation. Welcome to the Issuer Academy. Let's dive right in.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Chikwama Pay's story is so incredible. Smangele, let's start at the beginning. For those who may not know Chikwama Pay, probably very few people, can you share a bit about the company's origins and what problems are you actually setting out to solve for your customers in the market?
Okay, thank you for that. So, Chikwama Pay was actually born to fix a problem, if I may put it that way. We have learned that money stops at the borders, and many times people, they struggle to transact, over the borders. And some people, they want to save, some people, they want to spend, but it's not that easy. So as Chikwama, we easily, I can say, we cross border with our monies, if I may put it that way. So we built a borderless digital bank, right on your phone, right? So meaning wherever you go, you have your phone on your pocket, you have your money there, you can transact. If you go to another country and you have WhatsApp, you can easily, transact because we are actually on the phone. Yes. So basically that's how we are. We are creating a bank where, you can move your money freely, the same way as you move as a person. I mean, if you travel to another country, your money should be able to follow you without any issues.
Absolutely.
So we are Chikwama.
I must say, what I love is that, every single person has WhatsApp on their phone, right? So you've really taken that inclusion piece and really said, we'll use existing apps, we'll use existing infrastructure that customers are comfortable with and happy to use.
Exactly, because if you check, if I go to another country, sometimes you might find that my app does not work. But as soon as I land in that country and I change my SIM card and put, the network from that side, I'm able to access my WhatsApp.
Exactly.
And if I'm able to access my WhatsApp, then I can access my bank.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible.
It's amazing.
And when you look at it, payments is such a competitive space. What do you think has allowed Chikwama Pay to really stand out and build trust? We've spoken about WhatsApp.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've mentioned that, some apps, they stop at one country. But when you have a platform like WhatsApp, you can take it anywhere. And as Chikwama, we work across borders, safe, fast, and affordable. So most of the time, that when you think of transacting over borders, you're thinking of the charges and all that. But as we are giving you that affordability to say, even if you are in another country, you can still, transact freely, knowing that you will be charged the same amount that you will, get. And then we Revolut for Africa, but designed for a way our people live and trade. So that's who we are.
And that's incredible because as South Africans, we do so much traveling across, the rest of Africa. And, that's a real worry. Sometimes I have it as well. I'm like, do I have data? Is it going to work? Are my apps going to work? Do I need cash? This is so fantastic because you really are taking that borderless to the next level. It's so incredible. And one of the other things that I think is fantastic is how you guys are already driving financial inclusion using this. So when you look at it, a lot of fintechs in Africa talk about financial inclusion, but it can mean so many different things in practice, right? What does financial inclusion look like to you at Chikwama Pay?
Okay, so financial inclusion for us as Chikwama, it means, not just opening an account, but having a full digital bank in your pocket. A place to send or save or spend and grow as well. So whether you are in like Harare, maybe in Zimbabwe, or you are in Maputo in Mozambique, or you are in Lilongwe in Malawi, you know that, you know what, you are safe. You can, yes. So everyone should have a bank without borders.
I love that. A digital bank in your pocket.
In your pocket, exactly.
Incredible. And really that is financial inclusion. That's how you make sure that it's accessible to everybody, everywhere.
That's true.
Incredible. Could you share some real life examples of how your solutions are changing, day-to-day life for your users, whether it's an individual, an SME, or actual communities?
Okay. So I'll give a practical example. If a trader in, let's say maybe in Zimbabwe, they are able to, pay a supplier in South Africa while they are there. And we also have, people who are, let's say, someone who's at school here and they still depend on their parents for financial, assistance. So in that way, it's easy for someone to actually, send money this side instead of you having to be charged a whole lot of, fees and all that. I can give you also a practical example. Recently, I was in Malawi, right? So for me to transact there, it was so easy, and there was a time where I needed more cash and I had to contact someone who's this side and they were able to actually send me money when, and I was able to transact there. I was able to use my card and all that. So basically, it's all about that. We shouldn't be, limited because of borders. So you can actually be able to support your family members while you're overseas, knowing that the money will just come in just like that.
And that's incredible because when you look at it, there are so many, so like the student use case I love because there are so many people either, from other African countries studying in South Africa and vice versa. But it's also corporate travel where it's like, oh, I'm going on a business trip. Oh, we've run out of funds or, we've gone for an extra dinner, right?
And another thing, it helps you because, when you travel to a foreign country, what you do, you go and withdraw like 10,000. Now you know that when you get to the airport, you're going to, exchange. But now you know that you don't even have to do that. You have your Chikwama card and you can just transact like that. So
it's also much safer, right?
It's safer, exactly.
You don't need to walk around with cash anymore.
Yes. And another thing, remember the currency, it's not the same. So when you go to a place, sometimes people will they can even rob you in terms of the exchange. But now when you have your card, you're safe.
I love that. When we look at, building and scaling innovation, it's never easy, especially in a diverse and highly regulated markets, right? What have been some of the biggest operational or compliance challenges that you've had as a COO?
One of the toughest challenges I've encountered or had is that, remember, we are building over not only in South Africa, but we are moving, obviously. So the regulations are not the same. You go to Zimbabwe, it's different. You go to Zambia, it's something else. You go to, Mozambique, it's something else. So those were the challenges where now you have to adjust from what and then to the registrations and everything. So yeah, I think that's one of the most biggest. But what is good is that working closely with regulators and partners like your pay methodology, it has actually helped us to make it possible or to scale it while we stay safe and compliant.
Well, firstly, thank you. But the other thing is, yes, when you look at regulations, and I must say, looking across Africa, what I'm so inspired by is that the regulators are now looking at digital payments differently. And as much as, yes, it's still very fragmented and we have a long way to go, but what's great is the regulators are now trying to help and say, actually, there's a better way of doing this. And how do regulators, they're getting more involved in financial inclusion. They're also saying, how do they help fintechs build? And so it's so great that you guys have overcome those challenges. It's an incredible story about just the growth of Africa, and how all of the different markets, which are so incredibly different across the continent. But I think we all have one goal to say, create real financial inclusion, create safety, make it easy for Africans to transact in Africa.
Exactly. I mean, the world is revolving, so we need such, innovation. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, honestly, it's going to get to a point where other regions learn from us.
True.
When you look at it, so how do you balance being innovative and agile while also making sure that you have the resilience and the security that payments require?
So we as Chikwama, we are as fast as startup, but secure as a bank. And we innovate for speed and simplicity, right? And while our partners provide the strong backbones to keep every transaction safe. So yes, that's how we balance innovation and resilience.
Absolutely. It's all about balance because yes, we have to care about security and, check those boxes. But at the same time, like you said, it's simplicity for customers, right? Making it easy to understand, especially in Africa where I think there's still a lot of education that we need to do around financial literacy. So I love that you guys are really looking at that balance and making it easy while also safe. Incredible. And I think you touched on your last question. So the next piece I want to look at is around partnerships and your ecosystem. So we often say that no fintech succeeds in isolation, right? What role have partnerships played in, your journey so far?
So what I can say is that, partnership actually makes the borderless, possible for us, especially when we talk about your pay methodology powers, our core. They actually powers our core. So mobile operators connect us to people, right? And banks help us to grow trust. We know that there are brands that, banking brands that are trusted. So they actually help us to grow the trust. And then together we are creating Africa's first true borderless neobank.
And you're so right. It takes so many different partners to capture different pieces of that ecosystem because absolutely you need a strong banking partner. You need a strong technical partner. With you guys, your mobile partners are key, right? With WhatsApp and, just the device penetration. So it's amazing that you guys have managed to bring all of these partners together in the right areas to bring out the best in your ecosystem. When we look ahead, right? Where do you see additional opportunities for collaboration, whether it is still with additional banks, regulators, or even other global players?
Yeah, future collaborations, I can say the future is about joining hands with banks that wants to reach new customers. I mean, it's no longer business as usual, Yeah, I think everything has changed about banking. So regulators that want safe innovation and global fintechs that brings expertise. We believe in co-creation, not competition.
Co-creation, I absolutely adore that because that's exactly what it's about. I mean, when you look at traditional banks and either, older banks throughout Africa, right, they were never able to penetrate every single customer demographic. It was kind of top tier, middle tier, but not everyone had access, right? And so you guys are really bringing in, customers from every single level.
Every direction,
Yes.
I can say, yes.
Absolutely wonderful. And now looking forward, the theme of this episode is powering local payments. And that's so strong. What does that phrase really mean to you personally?
So personally, for me, it means building a global tool with a local heart. And, a neobank that feels like home, no matter where you are. Simple, affordable, borderless, and it made for Africa.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you that entire response is going to be like that is the goal. And when you look at it, those are the things that customers, really hold close because they want a bank that feels local. They want somebody who cares about them and their needs and creating hyper-personalization.
I mean, you must be, if you are in another side of the country, you mustn't feel like you're a stranger. Even if you need help with your money or you walk into a bank, you should feel like, you know what, I'm home. And I know they will assist me to access my money and all that. So, yes.
And it just builds that trust, right? Because if I feel like I'm at home, if I feel like I'm getting the right level of service and the same consistent level of service, I feel like that trust and that loyalty just is, organic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And finally, if we were to sit down in 5 years' time, what would success look like for Chikwama Pay, for your customers, and for Africa's payments ecosystem more broadly?
My God, that one. So in 5 years, I would say Chikwama Pay will be to Africa what Revolut is to Europe.
Absolutely.
Millions of people and businesses moving money across borders instantly. No hassle. saving and growing through one simple app. We will be Africa's, first true borderless digital bank.
Incredible. You know what? I cannot wait to sit with you in 5 years' time, because I have no doubt that is exactly what you guys are going to do.
We are going there.
I love that. And that brings us to the end, unfortunately, of this episode of the Issuer Academy. A huge thank you to my guest, Smangele Khumalo, COO of Chikwama Pay, for sharing her journey and insights into building a payments platform with both local roots and global ambition. Catch you next time on the Issuer Academy. That wraps up today's episode of the Issuer Academy, Paymentology's podcast to innovate, scale, and provide impact. I hope you're leaving with fresh insights and actionable strategies to help you revolutionize your card programs and drive true impact in the world. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, please leave a review to help us reach more pioneers like you. Also, be sure to subscribe and follow us for more inspiring episodes and behind-the-scenes content from Paymentology. Until next time, I'm Merusha Naidu. Keep innovating, keep scaling, and keep striving to make an impact.